I just want to thank the Sect members. And I know this isn't cultivation, but I need to talk about it. All right. Now, I don't know if anyone's watching To Be Hero X, but please watch it. There's going to be spoilers here for up to episode 10, because this is a Fury video, okay? So, episode 10, this is the final Lucky Cyan focused episode of the season, and without exaggeration, it has the most backstory reveals we've seen so far. And buried inside all of it is something big. A confirmation of where X really came from, and a quiet validation of something I've been suspecting about the world's power system since episode 1. This episode doesn't just explain the past, it rewrites how power actually works in To Be Hero X. So first, we finally get a direct line about X. A nobody beating Queen instantly. Not a prodigy, not a legacy, just some guy. A literal nobody taking down Queen, the golden child of the system, just instantly, the snap of his fingers. And now we get a glimpse at Queen's relationship with Cyan. You know, Queen was shown she's actually like the daughter of the reporter who smuggled Lucky Cyan out of the plane crash. That same crash that should have killed everyone on board, that shouldn't happen in this hero era. But Cyan survived with no known powers, no backups, just a plane of dying passengers, and the last thing they did was believe in a baby's survival. Are you gonna tell me that's just trust? A few hundred people making that happen? That's something else entirely, but we'll come back to that. The other big piece we got here, it's confirmation of a theory I've been talking about with some friends of mine for a minute now. The trust system isn't about good or evil, it's just about belief. Think back, Wreck, nicest villain, his nemesis, right? Was keeping up with the 15th ranked hero back in the day, but unlike the boss in episode 1, he never had any of those fear particles, none of that black aura effect, and yet he was still powerful. Why? Right? Because people trusted he'd be dangerous. He was believed in, just not in a positive way, and that's the key. We see a flashback where Tree Man, the hero agency, assigns roles like a casting call to the guy who becomes nice and the guy who becomes Wreck. And they weren't chosen for destiny. They were just cast like characters in a movie. The system isn't holy. It's not heroic. It's PR. You're not strong because you're right. You're strong because people think you will be. And that works for heroes and villains. This gets us back to fear, because the show finally frames what fear is. They frames it clearly. Fear is the opposite of trust. And that sounds cliche, but hear me out. It's not some separate system. It's belief, but belief warped by doubt. It's still emotional. It's still powerful. It's just toxic. And when it's amplified, it's lethal. And let me introduce you to my GOAT, right? My man's the Enlighter, okay? He falls to rank 249 in the show. He's not even good enough to live in the hero tower. He doesn't even get a mailbox, right? But you slap a fear amplifier on him and suddenly he's taking out Blankster, a hero with 3 million trust value. That's not a normal power gap. That's an entire economic class and difference in power. And Enlighter just bodied him. Why? Because enough people feared what he could do, or at least doubted that Blankster could stop him. That's all it takes. The numbers matter, right? You get 4-digit touch, like 1,000 people, you have anime powers, right? You're a cultivator. You have 10 trust, like it's average. 10 people believing in something, that's enough to turn your reputation into reality. I mean, look at Luo. He's the little kid with Cyan. They called him a calamity. He got 10 people who believes he's cursed. And now bad luck follows him around like it's written into the script. And here's the thing. X doesn't operate on either of these scales. I don't think he operates in trust or fear, right? He's not a number. He's something else entirely. But this is where my theory comes in, right? And shout outs to the ESOS parts of the story and the rest of it. Lucky Cyan is supposed to be trust-based, right? But she doesn't quite operate like the rest of the hero roster. Let's rewind just a little bit. She survives a plane crash as a baby with no powers and no abilities. just alive in the middle of wreckage while everyone else dies. And in that moment, the last thing those passengers did was hope. Not logically, not statistically, just believe that somehow that child would make it out. To me, that's not trust. That's faith. And from there, it only escalates. At the orphanage, they didn't build a media brand around here. They built a church, a full-on market design cult of faith. The orphanage director wasn't farming school presence. He was intentionally cultivating belief, raw, blind, irrational belief in cyan as something more than human, a miracle, a symbol of good luck. And it worked. This isn't without precedent. Go back before the commission, before Hero Tower, before the ranking tournaments, you get to 0. Not X, not ESO, 0. The top hero of his era, before the system as we know it even existed. He wasn't built on trust. He was created by faith, born out of occult devotion. And what happened? He broke. The belief that gave him power also unraveled him. The faith that created him drove him mad. And when the dust settled, the system didn't just clean it up, it replaced it. Trust became the new framework. Fear got slotted in as the controlled opposition. And faith, that got buried, scrubbed from the equation until now. So here's the real question. How does a nobody with no fans, no agency, and no trust value, no marketing engine, walk into a fight and fold Queen, the poster girl of the system? Where does that power come from? It's not trust. It's not fear. I believe it's faith. But here's the twist. I don't think that faith's coming from anyone. It's faith in himself. And that's the wildest, most dangerous form of belief in this entire world. Trust is external, all right? It needs buy-in. It's public. It's performative. Fear, though, fear is reactive. It's born from doubt, uncertainty, rumor. But faith in yourself, that's bulletproof. It can't be regulated. It can't be corrupted. It can't be manipulated by CEOs or media campaigns. It just is. That is what makes X the ultimate threat to the system. He doesn't just break the rules. He doesn't even acknowledge they exist. Now look, I could go full breaking down the OP, shout outs to Inertia. Hiroyuki Sawano really put on that, right? Everything about that OP and that whole song, to me, is clearly from X's point of view. The lyrics, and then the meaning behind the birds, the meaning behind the lines of fate, tie. You see the number 9 and number 10 keep reoccurring within it. There's symbolism in there. And in my gut, I think it's all connected to this. And I think it ties in with the faith theory too. But I'll talk about that later if I'm proved right. If I'm proved wrong, hey, I'm just a human, okay? I'm just a man. But basically, in closing, I think Lucky Cyan's luck is like a precursor to faith. I think 0 was destroyed by what faith does to a man. And I think X is the one person that's mastered faith. Like a real god, almost like a god. They call him omnipotent, right? Faith isn't tracked, it isn't rewarded, it isn't safe, but it's real. And when someone wills it fully, when they believe in themselves like a zealot, the system panics. That's what X represents. And that's why I think he's not just outside the trust fear model. He's post-trust. So let me know what you think. And shout outs to the Sect members. Let me know on Discord. Let me know in comments. Am I cooking? Am I delusional? Am I wrong here? We'll find out Saturday if what I'm saying is true, because we actually get to see what happens with Queen versus X, if there's any impact there, or how it goes down. We get a little bit clip in the news cycle of him snapping that finger. I want to watch it. And I'll probably make another video next week talking about this next episode if I get any ideas. How you doing, guys? I'm in the middle of another move. I know, big shocker. Richard, treading the path of heavens, moving for the 5th time. Finally about to get someplace more permanent, so I apologize, but it's been a while since I made content, and I really wanted to talk about this. This has been one of the few things that's been keeping me going when I've been in the middle of working out here in the bush, you know what I'm saying? I want to thank all the Sect members that are still around, all of the Sect members that still, on the Discord or still listening for me or listening for us. Anything we're coming out, we're going to have more podcasts in the future, but I wanted to start making videos talking about what I've been watching or reading or ideas or thoughts, and there's going to be more of these coming down the pipeline, you know what I'm saying? This is a little bit scripted. I went on a rant and I recorded the rant, and then I went back and I wrote down my thoughts and I put it together. So forgive this being done just off the cuff. Again, I'm moving today out of this hotel room to my more permanent space. So I'll be able to do this more often, okay? And I'm hoping my editor can make this look or sound a lot better. Shout out to Stefan. Deuces.